Hey gang, my name is David Roman. I'm the author and illustrator of the Eternal Horizon series. And I suffer from something called Creative ADHD. And if you've never heard of that term, that's because I made that shit up. No, but seriously, it's something I've been living for my entire life. I'm 44 years old. I just turned 44. And I believe it's something a lot of people out there have. A lot of people who are not even artists, they have that creative ADHD. Like, for example, you ever see a movie and you're like, oh my God, like I should write a script. It should be like this. And you have all these ideas, and then like you have the movie idea, then you have the show idea, then you have like maybe you could write for a video game, like, and you have all these ideas, but you never have time. But if you actually would sit down, if you find time, if you put your creative juice to it, you could come up with something great. And like it's not just that. It's like imagine like you want to write a book, right? You want to write a book. You want to paint, and you can't find time. It's like all over the place. This is what I mean by creative ADHD. Like, I wrote this is Buddy, by the way. I wrote 5 science fiction books, illustrated them. I've had this idea since the 80s, polished it in the 90s, and started writing until 2005. And like, I only work on this on weekends, technically. I mean, sometimes I used to, like, when I'm already, like, nearing the finish line, maybe I'll start working on it every day. But I only work on it on weekends. At the same time, it took me about 5 years. Like, I've been doing this since 2005. I started writing, and I just released book 5. And 20 years later, oh my God. I just released book 5. I got one more book to go. And the thing is, like, yeah, I could have finished it earlier, but I have something called creative ADHD, because it's not only that I'm working on a book, I'm also creating the illustrations for the characters, I'm creating the, illustrations for the chapters, starship diagrams, but at the same time, like, I love to paint. I have created about 200 paintings already. I didn't really start painting, like, seriously till I was 30 years old, all right? Before that, maybe I did about 100 paintings before that, but I never like saved any pictures or anything like that, So yeah, I have about 200 paintings done. At the same time, I'm also working on my father's posthumous work. He created all these maps, about 500 circle maps. I've been putting them together into a file, PDF. I'm contacting schools right now. I'm trying to get this work published. So yeah, between my sci-fi books, my artwork, I also wrote a children's book. I released book 1 in 2024. Juba, the King of the Jungle. I'm actually going to start working on book 2. So I have this idea. Another creative thing I'd have is I want to work on video games, okay? I can create sprites. I know basic stuff, but I just don't have time for that. But and then at the same time, I also, I'm working on my children's book. I just said that. Do you see what I mean by ADHD? I'm pretty sure I got that. Buddy. So working on my children's book, working on my sci-fi series. I have ideas for a high fantasy series. I have 2 ideas for a high fantasy series. One is going to be an epic saga about 3 best friends. They were enslaved when they were kids, and and then only later in their 30s they find out what happened to them, and it's a great story. Then I have another fantasy story that I'm actually planning on this year, but this one I'm going to do in comic book format. So technically it's going to be my first comic book. Other than that, if you see my previous video on my channel, I was talking about my universe, my personal universe, and I had about 400 characters. I mean, it includes the sci-fi book, it includes the high-fi fantasy series. I also had superheroes. I'm planning on working on that one day. So I'm living with this, I'm trying to have a social life. I work a full-time job. I go to the gym every day, look at these guns. And 44 years old, baby, don't make fun of me. So, yeah, and I'm trying to run a channel. I'm trying to run a TikTok. I play video games sometimes. I do Twitch. And I do have a social life, I'm good with the ladies, all right? Don't worry about that. But the thing is, like, we're living with this ADHD. Like sometimes I remember in my 20s, I would be up in a club, man. We would be in a VIP drinking, and I'm thinking about my characters. I'm like, like this guy would do this, and like it's not there. You know what I mean? The story was only in my head, and I lived with it. And those characters tormented me over the years until I finally put it on paper, until I finally put it on canvas. And I'm talking fast, ain't I? And this is what like living with creative ADHD is. I have all these like boom, 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 all over the place. Like sometimes I want to work on this, sometimes I work on that, and I always finish. But the thing is, it takes me forever. I don't have a schedule to go at it. I just know like in the evening time when I get home from the gym, I'm gonna work for a few hours on my creative projects, and they're all over the place. So finally, this year, I decided to do something about it. I'm gonna split my work into days. So I have a whole plan for 2026. I'm starting this year. So if you're living with ADHD, creative ADHD, I suggest you do the same, all right? Because see, what I used to do is I would work on one project, and then I would think about another project, and like sometimes like I'm concentrating on one, like I'll lose interest in one of them, right? And I don't even jump on the other one. It's like, you know what I mean, right? It's just like a delay. So with this time, I'm gonna split it into weeks. So Monday, I'm gonna work on my short stories, okay? I have a lot of short stories. I have about 6 that I've written. 2 I already published a long time ago. I cannot find where, but I know one is online. I need to find it. Another one was in a paper, actually magazine. So I need to find those. I'm gonna polish my old short stories. I'm gonna work on the new ones. I'm gonna work on them every Monday for all of 2026. And for now, I'm gonna actually go work on them on the weekends too before I start the final book in the Eternal Horizon series. So that will be my Monday, all right? No matter what, I'm gonna work on my short stories. Whether it takes half an hour or an hour, I'm gonna work on it, okay? And trust me, over time, it's gonna accumulate. Tuesdays, all I'm gonna do is paint. With my paintings, I have so many ideas for painting. Sometimes those visuals come into my head and they stay there unless I put them out. So, put it out. I paint with acrylics, I paint with oils. I started recently, not recently, about 5 years ago. It's been about 7 years ago. I started drawing with colored pencils. I really love doing that. I'm gonna work on, I haven't touched watercolors in a while. But so Tuesdays is gonna be dedicated to my paintings. Okay, I'm gonna spend about 2-3 hours just painting, whatever. I'll set it aside. I don't mind. Sometimes setting it aside takes me months and months to do painting, but hey, I do it what I can do. I'm not gonna paint with a stylus anymore digitally. I stopped doing that since AI came out. It's like, come on, man, it's just gonna be traditional. Wednesdays, I'm going to work on Juba the Cheetah Part 2 of my illustrated children's books. Part 1 is available on Amazon right now. I get generally favorite reviews. I have a lot. This is my number 1 video on YouTube, actually, my children's book. But the thing is, in the end of the book, the cheetah, the mischievous cheetah, gets away. She steals from the animals, and she gets away. And people, like, I had a lot of, people are, man. People be complaining about anything. Hey, bunch of Karens complaining. So other than that, let's move on. Thursday. On Thursday, I'm starting a comic book. Not a comic book, it's a comic strip. You know those Garfield Archie cartoons? Well, I'm doing one for gym-related stuff. It's gonna be called Gym Bros. It's about 2 dudes. They're fucking gym bros, all right? They're like me, but they don't have creative ADHD, all right? They're all about them gains, bro. So it's gonna be Gym Bros. I'm gonna work on that every Thursday. I'm going to do about 10 to 15 episodes before I start releasing them. I'm gonna release them on my Instagram. I might create a own page for them eventually when I get a lot of episodes. Maybe I'll contact some, newspaper like Florida Times Union or some shit, or maybe like one of those bodybuilding magazines. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get hey, it's not real. What are you doing? It's not real. I gotta get her some plants. So that's Thursday. On Friday, what am I doing on Fridays? See, I already fucking forgot what I'm doing on Fridays. It's on my phone, but hold on. On Fridays, I'm starting The Rejects. The Rejects is another high fantasy series that I mentioned earlier, but this month I think it's best to be in comic book format. So technically I'm starting my own first comic book. The reason it's called The Rejects, don't steal my idea, is because these are all like Dungeons and Dragons reject characters. I mean, it has nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons. It's high fantasy, but these are all reject characters. So we have like a bard, we have like a ranger, a rogue, like useless, like a blue mage, useless characters, and they get together to steal a treasure. So it's gonna be, it's not fun. It's a really sad story, but it's a great comic story, and it's a one-shot series. I'm hoping maybe to get, like maybe like more than a regular comic book. Obviously, I need to see how many pages I can do. This will be my first attempt at a comic book since like year 2002. I remember I started drawing a comic book, and my ex just took my pages and never gave them back to me, and I stopped. So yeah, let's move on to the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, I get a lot of stuff done. Obviously, my days are off. Saturday, in the morning, I'm gonna work on Eternal Horizon 6. And in the evening, in the afternoon, I'm gonna paint. I'm just gonna pick up the paint from Tuesday, and I'm gonna work on Eternal Horizon. And Sundays, I will just work on Eternal Horizon in the morning. And in the evening, I'm gonna work on my dad's posthumous maps. I'm already done with them, so all I gotta do, like right now, I'm looking out for a publisher, all right? So yeah, that's my creative schedule. Living with ADHD, I wanted to split it up. And I know it's like you want to work on one thing, but trust me, if you work on that thing every single day and neglect the other things, it's going to pile up, and the other things are going to like affect your, I guess, like performance on this first thing. That's what I feel like it. And you're going to turn into a slop. So, just concentrate on a little bit at a time. Maybe if you want to work on 2 days painting and 2 days writing, do your thing. But this is how I live with creative ADHD, This is how I'm planning to do this, because like right now, before this, I had no schedule. I would just paint on one day, and I would jump on a book the other day, and like I would just go by how I feel, and I had no plan. So maybe I should bust out Excel. Bust out Excel and shit. So yeah, that's living with creative ADHD. And I know there's a lot of us out there. A lot of us people out there, and we're seeing we're like seeing these video games, you see what's happening in the movies, you see what's happening in shows, and you can contribute, you can help out. But like you have family, you have you have a job, and you cannot find the time, and just like I said, find half an hour, find to an hour, and just get this thing out of your head. Get this thing out of your head. Get your creative ADHD in order, or it will cause it will just drive you crazy. Okay, that's how I feel it. So yeah, please subscribe for Buddy. Please subscribe so I can retire and do this full time, because I have so many ideas, man. I got so many ideas. Once 2026 is done, I still got to do the superhero story, the superhero comic. I still got to do the high fantasy series, the other one, and Eternal Horizon 6 coming. Eternal Horizon 1 through 5, the greatest science fiction story you've never heard, on Amazon. Check it out. Once again, please subscribe, and I'll see you later. Happy 2026.